It sounds like one of those internet lies that starts with, "Bro, trust me." A guy goes from playing racing games on a couch to racing real cars, for real teams on real tracks at speeds where mistakes get expensive very quickly. No famous last name, no childhood karting trophies, no billionaire parents quietly funding a dream. Just a controller, a TV, and way too many hours on Gran Turismo. And somehow that turned into a professional racing career. Which honestly still sounds fake. Jann Mardenborough didn't grow up in the racing world. Motorsport wasn't baked into his family DNA. He wasn't the kid showing up to kindergarten already knowing the difference between understeer and oversteer. While other drivers were being molded from childhood, karting every weekend, racing before they could legally ride a bike, Jann was doing what a lot of us were doing. Playing video games. Specifically Gran Turismo. And not in the play 2 races and quit way, this was full-on obsession, restarting laps because he braked 1 meter too early, memorizing tracks corner by corner, chasing lap times like they owed him money. To anyone watching from the outside, it probably looked like a waste of time. Just another guy sitting in front of a screen pretending to be a race car driver, which, at the time, is exactly what he was. Then Nissan and PlayStation had an idea that sounded like it came from a late-night meeting where nobody wanted to be the one to say, "This is stupid." They created GT Academy. The pitch was simple. Take the fastest Gran Turismo players in the world and see if any of them could survive in real race cars, not look cool for a promo, not drive slowly while professionals babysit them. Real training, real competition. Real pressure, tens of thousands of gamers signed up. Most of them were gone almost immediately, some cracked under pressure. Some were fast in game but completely lost once things got physical. Some realized very quickly that racing without a restart button is a terrifying experience. Jann kept making it through. Round after round, he stayed calm, stayed fast, stayed focused. Eventually, the competition stopped being gamers and started being actual racing drivers, people who had spent most of their lives in real cars, and somehow Jann didn't fall apart, which made absolutely no sense. The moment he climbed into a real race car, reality hit him like a brick wall. The G-forces weren't something you could simulate with a couch and a controller. His neck hurt, his arms hurt, everything hurt. The cockpit was hot, loud, and uncomfortable, and the car did not care that he was new. Miss a braking point, that's not a restart, that's a wall, and he did crash more than once. There were injuries, there were setbacks. There were moments where people quietly wondered if this whole thing had finally reached its limit. And to be fair, that was a reasonable question. Because racing is not forgiving. It doesn't care about good stories. But underneath the chaos, something strange kept showing up. Jann knew where the car needed to be. He understood racing lines instinctively. He didn't panic under pressure. Things that usually take drivers years to learn were already there. Not perfect, not polished, but real. Engineers noticed, coaches noticed. The same people who were skeptical at the start started paying closer attention. The joke slowly stopped. At first, the motorsport world treated him like a novelty. The gamer, they'd say, usually with a smile that meant, yeah, this won't last. Then Jann started delivering results. He wasn't just circulating at the back. He was competing, finishing races, then finishing well, then standing on podiums. That's when the tone changed, because novelty acts don't do well at Le Mans. Jann did. He raced in GT championships. He raced endurance events. He raced on some of the toughest circuits in the world, against drivers who had been training for this since childhood. And he belonged there, which forced a lot of people to rethink some things they were very confident about before. What makes Jann's story even stranger is the timing. Most professional drivers start racing before they're old enough to drive on public roads. By the time Jann got into a real car, a lot of drivers his age were already veterans. He skipped the entire traditional ladder. No karting childhood, no junior formula grind, no carefully planned progression. He went from virtual laps to real ones and somehow didn't drown, not because he was reckless. Not because he was lucky, but because for years he had been quietly learning how to race without anyone taking it seriously. Today, sim racing is everywhere. Every major team uses it. Drivers train on simulators constantly. Esports racers are being scouted like athletes. But before it was normal, before it was respected, there was a guy sitting at home grinding lap times on a game, with no idea that one day it would put him in a real race car, at real speed, surrounded by people who once thought the whole idea was a joke. And that's still the wildest part, because this wasn't supposed to work. No one planned for it to work, but it did, and motorsport hasn't looked at gaming the same way since. And if you made it this far, you're clearly into stories like this, the weird, unlikely ones that sound fake until you realize they actually happened. So if you enjoyed it, hit the like button. It genuinely helps more than people think, and it tells the algorithm, yeah, this was worth watching. And if you want more stories like this, real motorsport moments, strange career paths, and the kind of racing stories that don't get told enough, subscribe and stick around. There are a lot more of these coming. I'll see you in the next one.